Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by. Today we are celebrating the release of our book as exhibition, Zwischen körpern, and on this occasion we want to take you on a little tour through the exhibition. We are Eileen and Anna, two of the curators of Kleine Humboldt Galerie, a student-led curatorial collective from Berlin. Zwischen körpern is an exhibition exploring the human body and the ways in which different bodies are subjected to different forms of control and how to break free from being controlled. Originally, the exhibition was supposed to take place in the Veterinary Anatomy Theater on the campus of Humboldt University, but COVID crossed our plans. Now you can experience the exhibition in the experimental form of a book. Maybe you are even holding the book in your hands right now. If not, you can also follow along on our website, where we provide the entire book in PDF format for you. But don't worry, we will also show everything we're talking about on screen. Together, we will take a look into the book, explore how we converted an exhibition experience into a book, and, most importantly, learn about the selected works of art.
During the planning of the exhibition project in its original sense of being a live exhibition, we already created a theoretical and conceptual basis. This text that we created as a manifesto was the result of the vision of the curatorial team of the Kleine Humboldt Galerie. From the beginning, the manifesto was supposed to be a key part of the exhibition, meaning that we also wanted to include it in some form into the exhibition space as a printout. The manifesto is written in 8 verses, trying to comprise the idea of the human body within the context of social boundaries and matters of control. Therefore, the manifesto reflects our aims to observe the human body from several different angles. Thus, the manifesto serves as an approach to the questions we want to propose in our exhibition through our selection of the artworks. How to define one's own body? What does it mean today to inhabit a body, to move it, and to reflect on it in a given context? How do social systems and constructs affect the body? By reading the manifesto before entering the exhibition space of the book, we hope to give you as readers and visitors a first perspective through which you could look at the artworks and to build a conceptual framework. While strolling through the pages and observing the artworks closely, it is always possible to return to the manifesto, which is a very interesting advantage of the book format. So feel free to switch from one page to the other, experiment with the construction of the book, just as you would find different ways to visit an exhibition. Explore the exhibition space as you feel like and find different ways to connect your ideas and observations also to the verses of the manifesto. Our exhibition space is placed in the Veterinary Anatomy Theater. The heart of the building is a classically domed dissection theater designed by Carl Gotthard Langhals and was built in 1790. Significant for this room is the elevated platform in the center that once lifted the lifeless bodies of animals into the room for lectures on veterinary medicine. These bodies were prepared in the adjacent slaughterhouse, the Gerlachbau, which you can see in the photos here. Originally, we intended to give public access to the Gerlachbau for the first time by staging the physical exhibition of Zwischen körpern within this building. Together, the Veterinary Anatomy Theater, as well as the Gerlachbau, represent not only the stage of our exhibition, but also constitute interesting parallels of our curatorial concept. So it was obligatory for our team to incorporate this place in the realization of the book project. As you might have already noticed, you can find a nice glimpse of the planning process concerning the exhibition space on the cover of the book. It shows a sketch one of our team members created in order to position the artworks in the Gerlachbau. So what we were trying to demonstrate here was the strong link between curatorial concept, the artworks, the exhibition space, and the whole organizational process.
The first artworks we encounter are a series of monochromatic woodcuts by Esther Fleckner. Argumenta for Begehr, meaning arguments for desire. Fine lines intersecting and forming small stars were carved into the printing plate and are shining white out of an otherwise pitch-black plane of color. On one print, the stars are neatly organized into rows. On the next, they are sprinkled about randomly, looking like the night sky. This symbol is not only reminiscent of the night sky, but also resembles a typographical feature, the asterisk. The asterisk is often used to indicate further information in the form of a footnote and has lately been a topic of heated debates in Germany when talking about gendered language. Here, the asterisk symbolizes something that is not yet covered by language and lies beyond gender binaries or heteronormative sexuality.
As Fleckner's works concern the meanings of symbols in the context of gender and identity, Susanna Svatik also plays with images as well as materials loaded with connotations, often in the sense of gender-related stereotypes. Svatik works mainly with clay and sculpts vases out of it. Material and object are usually related with craft and in a heteronormative sense as a female material. At the same time, Svatik's vases depict images of naked women, violence, and symbols of patriarchal power, such as cars, arms, and cowboys. In Bitches Running the Show, the artist takes a critical approach on those socially constructed truths, while creating an ironic twist through the interplay of kitsch, pop culture, and the banality of symbols.
Although we can only show a photographic documentation, it was very important to us to include Carolina Caicedo's performance Más allá de control, Beyond Control. This work explores choreographies and gestures of power, used as quite literally controlling techniques by police and military, combined with fluid movements inspired by river currents. The visitors and spectators, oftentimes passive by default, are subjected to the stream of power and force that unfolds from the performers and find themselves backed into a corner, experiencing mechanisms of control on their bodies.
Louisa Kauzian's photographs blur the lines and boundaries of bodies and our understanding of how bodies are formed and how they relate to each other. Sometimes the viewer can't really separate the beginnings and endings of those bodies, and sometimes they even meld into each other, as you can see in the photo Lost Together. The embrace turns into a melting of two seemingly individuals into one, creating an atmosphere of intimacy and harmony. About Vulnerability 1 and 2 pushes that idea of shifting fleshly limits and surfaces even further. What do the materials in the photos represent? Do we see something organic, something human, a body?
Kirsten Burkhardt shows a video, A Body That Only Embodies, which you can view on our website in full length during the course of the exhibition. Here she brings us almost uncomfortably close to a mouth, or more prominently, a tongue. The tongue is shown stretching out of and pressing against the roof of the mouth, twisting and testing its range of motion. Burkhardt thematizes how one may try to seize power over a body in the context of colonialism, border transgression, and eroticism. She comes to the conclusion that the tongue is the only body part that is not possessed but seen for what it is, a body that embodies itself completely.
In the surreal, dreamlike settings of the video piece and the adjoining photographs of the series Fantasia by Michael Liani, the artist constitutes multiple ambiguities. Myth and fantasy are awakened, yet we can find real references to Eurocentric constructs and narratives such as the exoticizing Orientalism. Liani explores social diversity and looks beyond the norm. Through deconstructing the established images and symbols, he reassembles them in an unconventional way. We can see that, for example, in the work Almog and Tamar, in which Liani appropriates art historical references, but he switched them up with different gender identities.
While Liani deals with century-old conceptions and views of the body, Ingvar Holm tries to bring a fresh perspective using contemporary technologies. The presented slab of meat is not actually made out of flesh, but of stone, the marbling of the mineral mimicking the soft tissue of meat. Holden scanned the butcher's cut of meat with a 3D scanner and chiseled the resulting form out of marble. The sculpture is propped up on a stage panel covered in carpet typically found in an airplane interior. The use of state-of-the-art technology and sterile materials associated with shipping cargo opens up a connection to current methods of meat production and raises questions of ethics. Are we, as consumers, as disconnected from the meat we consume as the piece of marble masquerading as such?
What we also wanted to incorporate into zwischen körpern, which also connects to Hohen's work, is the scientific and technical possibilities of changing, developing, and perhaps even improving bodies and their surroundings. Theresa Schubert addresses such innovations through her performance Meet Me. In our book, you'll find photographs, plus you'll get access to video material of that performance. In Schubert's work, the artist cultivates meat in a petri dish developed from human tissue. The human body is understood as a site for food production and a constantly self-renewing source of nutrition. Schubert proposes an alternative answer to the problem of capitalist meat production.
Lotte Meret and Marco Bütikova lead us into digital worlds. Together with other contributors, including researchers, artists, and music producers, the duo created Data Fiction, a video game that reacts and changes according to the acts of players. Data Fiction raises awareness to the all-encompassing practices of data collection and problems arising from those endless streams of data. Algorithms and data collecting companies overstepped previous boundaries of privacy a long time ago and often know ourselves better than even our closest friends. In the virtual, we are constantly renegotiating how we present ourselves, who is let into our close circle, and what we make of the virtual presence of others. All the while, our online experience is already predetermined and shaped by the all-knowing data collecting platforms.
Stine Deja presents 2 of her video works, which you will also have access to through scanning the QR codes which you'll find in the book. Deja discusses the human drive for perfecting the body. In Cryptic Runes, she depicts the photorealistic scene in the far future. It shows the excavation site of a gym in London. The narrator speculates what the purpose of the facility could potentially be, while exploring the seemingly brutalist architecture and foreign exercise machines. In The Perfect Human, a 3D animated model is shown in detail and is inhumanly stretched, twisted, and deformed. The figure texts on a smartphone or sits at a laptop and watches videos about how to take the perfect selfie. The genderless 3D animation raises the question of what we define as human and what shapes the human being, especially in the digital age.
We hope this short tour provided you some insight into the format of this exhibition, our intentions and curatorial concept, and the works of art you can experience. Use this input as a starting point for your own way through the space of the book. Find the publication and video works on our website and check out the accompanying podcasts and events. We would be happy to read about your thoughts and impressions in our guest book, which you can find linked below. Thank you for joining us today and have fun with the rest of the stream. Bye!